The kick came out of nowhere, sharp and cruel, landing against her legs in the middle of a sunlit garden party where laughter had been floating moments before, and as she stumbled onto the grass with eyes full of shock, no one yet realized that the man who would soon stand still in terror was about to learn the heaviest lesson of his life under the open daylight sky. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that power should protect rather than harm, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Echo Tales, because stories like this exist to remind us that dignity still matters. Her name was Clara Whitmore, and she had never liked attention, especially not the kind that followed her everywhere without her consent. The outdoor party had been held at a large civic estate on a bright afternoon, filled with local officials, families, volunteers, and guests who moved between white tents and green lawns as if the world were gentle and safe. Clara wore a simple summer dress and kept mostly to herself, helping an elderly woman find a seat and refilling water glasses, trying to disappear into usefulness. She had grown up this way, choosing kindness over noise, humility over spotlight, even though her life had been surrounded by power she never asked for. Few people there knew who she truly was, and she preferred it that way. The man who kicked her, Rex Calder, had arrived with loud confidence and careless entitlement. He was known for drinking too much, laughing too hard, and pushing boundaries because no one had ever stopped him. He saw Clara standing alone near the edge of the lawn and mistook her quiet presence for weakness, her politeness for permission. In the middle of a joke gone wrong and fueled by alcohol and ego, he lashed out, turning cruelty into entertainment for himself. The sound of the kick cut through the party, and Clara fell, her hands pressing into the grass as confusion and pain washed over her under the bright sun. What hurt more than the physical pain was the silence that followed. People froze, unsure whether to intervene, unsure whether this was their place. Clara felt the familiar weight of being judged by appearances, of being overlooked, of being reduced to a moment of humiliation she did not deserve. She had spent her life trying to prove she was more than a name, more than a connection, more than a title she never chose. In that moment, lying on the grass with eyes burning and heart pounding, she wondered if staying invisible had cost her the courage of others. She stood up slowly, brushing dirt from her hands, refusing to cry in public. The sunlight felt harsh, exposing everything she had tried to keep private. People whispered, some in concern, others in fear of involvement. Rex laughed at first, careless and loud, unaware that the atmosphere had shifted. Security began to move in, and a tall man who had been quietly speaking with community leaders nearby turned toward the scene with a stillness that commanded attention. That man was Governor Samuel Whitmore, though most people simply knew him as the governor, a figure of authority whose presence alone usually calmed rooms. When he saw Clara standing there shaken but composed, something hardened in his expression. He moved forward without urgency but with purpose, the kind that makes noise fall away. When he reached her side, the truth revealed itself without theatrics, without shouting, without a single dramatic gesture. He placed himself between her and Rex, and in a clear, steady declaration meant for everyone present, he identified Clara as his daughter. The effect was immediate and devastating. Rex's confidence collapsed in seconds, his face draining of color as realization struck him harder than any consequence he had ever faced. Fear replaced arrogance, and shame overwhelmed him so completely that his body betrayed him in front of everyone, a humiliating loss of control that silenced the lawn more thoroughly than any speech could have. The party had transformed from celebration to reckoning in the full light of day. But for Clara, the moment was not about revenge or satisfaction. It was about being seen. Her father did not raise his voice or threaten. He simply stood there, embodying the authority she had never wanted to rely on but could not deny existed. Security escorted Rex away, and witnesses finally spoke up, describing what they had seen, their voices steadier now that power had shifted. Accountability followed swiftly, and the crowd learned that silence only protects cruelty until courage intervenes. In the hours that followed, Clara sat beneath a tree with her father, the sun lowering but still bright, and she felt something inside her ease. She had spent years trying to earn respect through humility alone, and while that mattered, she realized that protection and justice were not weaknesses. They were responsibilities. News of the incident spread quickly, not because of scandal, but because of the quiet dignity with which it was handled. Clara became a symbol not of privilege, but of restraint, empathy, and the importance of standing up for those who cannot. Just before the ending, take a moment to comment below and share your thoughts about standing up against cruelty and the courage it takes to speak when silence feels safer. Days later, Clara returned to her routines, volunteering, listening, helping where she could, but something had changed. People looked at her differently, not with awe, but with respect. She no longer felt the need to shrink herself to make others comfortable. She learned that being kind did not mean accepting harm, and that dignity could coexist with strength. If this story touched your heart, stirred your emotions, or reminded you that justice can arrive when least expected, please engage with this video, because your support helps stories like this reach those who need hope the most. Under the clear light of day, Clara Whitmore learned that identity does not define worth, but courage reveals it.